You can see that we dropped to 54,000 earlier and then rose to 57 or 55 again. Guys, I'm not even slightly concerned about where we are. If you're concerned about the impact on your duration, it seems like you underestimated it. You had anticipated reaching 77,000 each day. All you have to worry about if you're going to be here for 4 years is finding a way to increase your income. Either cut back on what you consume or sell some assets that won't appreciate as much as Bitcoin over the next 3 to 4 years. After you're done with that, they just return to their jobs, create fiat currency, and purchase Bitcoin. It would be great if the next time you purchase any, it's at 42,000. Then that's awesome. A Bitcoin stack is something I'm currently working on, compared to last night. My Bitcoin holdings are higher this morning. It appears that its valuation has dropped today. It is the 5th of July, just in case anybody forgot. No one is on the clock today. Cardone maintains a bullish outlook on Bitcoin's future in his most recent video, disregarding the pessimism expressed by other investors. The value of Bitcoin recently dropped to $1.54 but has now recovered to roughly $1.55 again. Do not be worried, says Cardone, implying that worrying results from underestimating the time needed to complete an investment. For the long haul, he says, put your money into Bitcoin and stop worrying about making a profit. Following Bitcoin's 9% recovery from its recent lows, an article on Cointelegraph notes that traders continue to be optimistic about the cryptocurrency's future. Even though trading activity on weekends is usually minimal, Bitcoin manages to recover some lost ground. The daily finish of Bitcoin remained above the important $1.27,500 support level, which analysts like Wed Capital pointed out as a good indicator, despite the substantial downward divergence. As Bitcoin drew around $28,500, a local high, traders like Dan Crypto Trade saw several short positions close. A bullish divergence and other positive readings from the Relative Strength Index pointed to bright prospects for Bitcoin. After the initial 100 days, it begins to rise again. The miners are still busily working away, even though the price of Bitcoin has dropped. Bitcoin wasn't exactly roaring last week, but iron was up 28%. How will the miners proceed if this turns around? And does an 88 or 85, the miners will go into overdrive. This is before the AI part of it, though after all, if iron can rise in a $50,000 or $60,000 environment at 28%, what could they do if Bitcoin was at $78 or $100? This is going to be my last statement, Sam. I simply think it's crucial that people be patient with me if I'm now spending more time talking about politics than Bitcoin, especially if it's annoying you. Please give this election some serious consideration. Get your neighbors to the polls this November by considering who lives in your neighborhood. Meeting your neighbors is all you gotta do, dude. Very well. I intend to use this as the closing number for each and every one of my shows. Please go do something kind for someone else anonymously. A lovely life hack this is. I've been involved in this for what feels like an eternity. And the more I tell you, the more it becomes second nature. I was shown this tiny life hack a long time ago, but I completely forgot about it. As for me, I don't enjoy or want to get active in politics, but we can't be apathetic, so I guess it's just part of being nice. Alright, for the next 5 months, you will simply need to persevere through this. Unfortunately, I believe that once we battle for it and succeed, we will still need to struggle to maintain it. I believe we are currently in the midst of a 4 to 8 year journey, and sitting on your hands and hoping that Bitcoin's value increases isn't going to cut it. You will not contribute to finding a solution. Since this is the case, I believe Bitcoin has room to grow. A rise is imminent. To further emphasize the significance of our voice, let's utilize Bitcoin as a gravity connection among all these individuals. We have been silenced. Lots of individuals have worked out that if they speak crap enough, they can get away with it. People will effing listen to them if they say it enough times, even if they only represent 0.4% of the world's population. We have fallen silent. And just like that, it took place. When we were silent, someone else took advantage of the void. Therefore, you will need to. I'm presuming that someone will single me out, despise me, and likely prosecute me. That's it. Dude, this is not going to be free. At this very moment, there is no communication with anyone in Ukraine, all right? 4 weeks ago, the woman I'm seeing went to visit her parents. In order for her parents to jet to Monaco from Ukraine just in time for supper. Exactly 4 weeks. You better reevaluate your notion of freedom. Then it's all right, you're just as deserving of this treatment as everyone else. Sure, that's okay. But it was with the wrong individual. Bitcoin, the country, and this country are all things that I adore. This earth is amazing, and I can't believe there are 8 billion humans living here. There are a mere 10,000 elected officials, so let's say the odds are 8 to 10. It goes without saying that we need to quit bickering about seemingly insignificant issues and start talking to one another and being honest. Let us concentrate on the fundamental principles of belief about which we are generally in agreement. The qualities of being good, having honor, having morality, having ethics, being truthful, producing, creating, and not having your work stolen from you. I hold these beliefs. This is going to be an amazing experience regardless. Whether we succeed or fail, this is, my friend, history in the making. He kept saying, dude, and you'll be able to look back on your time working for him and remember it all from 20 years ago. Do you sense the shifting sand? We are smack dab in the midst of history. Having the structure under my feet move, metaphorically speaking, is incredibly thrilling for me. Consequently, I find that to be far more interesting and consequential than the question of whether Bitcoin is at 78,000 or 7,000. I disagree with that scenario, but we will receive a substantial payment. Regarding our role in Bitcoin, but failing to take action on the political front will result in low pay and job security. Since I am familiar with the market for Bitcoin, its supply and demand, and the fact that relatively few individuals have invested in this asset class, I find it extremely simple. If I'm correct and the rich have already eaten everything in sight, then you have to consider game theory. Their consumption is at its peak. We had peak oil, remember? A prominent author, I'll remember his name, became an expert on the topic of peak oil and became a professor. In my opinion, peak oil has never happened. Peak oil will never happen. According to peak oil, there is a price, but at $1,000, every drop of oil will be visible. And hence, game theory is beyond my comprehension. Using game theory, I can see how it would function in a cartel scenario involving OPEC. However, I am astounded to see that there are 406,000 really rich households when I examine Bitcoin. I have a good idea of their behavior. All right, enough cash to buy a Rolex or a chartered plane for $125,000? I thought there was an endless supply of chartered flights. A number of Rolex watches could be manufactured indefinitely. How many planes do you think they'll produce for $1 million? The way I see it, in Tampa, every single person will be represented by an airplane. It was $1 million. Listen, I have to spend 3 hours and $1 million. There will be planes. Very well. Behold, behold, behold the terribly skewed information they provide. So, I find it to be really straightforward. There isn't much complexity to this. Everything else related to game theory is extremely intricate. There are oligopolies, duopolies, and monopolies. Each of these needs a unique set of market entry strategies. The fact that I am aware of the strategies that big financial institutions will employ when they enter the Bitcoin market provides me a significant advantage. They plan to attempt it by forming partnerships and referral programs, which they consistently reject due to their desire to connect. They call it limping in. I propose we form a partnership. It's not a serious commitment. As you can see, Fidelity entered the digital asset market 7 years ago. They entered, my friend. They put money into motion. They brought on staff. Partnerships with individuals were not something they did. Listen up. I have some news to share with you. They were prepared to shell out cash for the physical location, establish a business plan, and test their hypothesis. That's drastically different from, say, Bank of America or the First Data Company insisting that you do anything for your defense. Honestly, we have no idea what we're doing. There isn't a really defined goal. We're just following the crowd. For this reason, I brought up the topics of Chatter and Twitter. Elon is really busy. Very well. For example, more than 7 programmers are required to make Spaces a fantastic workplace. People will quickly abandon X if a conversation with 1 million users appears and zeroes in on the product that needs to be developed for this market. Gone are the days of stickiness. These programs will no longer ensnare you. Everyone will have unrestricted